the first step is to get a really good, clean, straight-on shot of the frame. Give yourself plenty of room. In this case, I was able to put the motor in as well. And then pick two spots on the frame outside of where your motor mount's going to be, or your part, and get a good measurement. And the closer to horizontal you can get on that, the better the measurement will be. Bring the file into Photoshop and crop it using the crop tool right to those points. So I'm going to set the sides of my frame right to those two spots. And make the crop. And then just go into image size and size the image to that dimension. So if that was 18 inches, we put in 18 inches here. And that creates a file that's perfectly life size. So your dimensions are going to be all accurate, your angles, all that stuff's going to be pretty much dead nuts on, depending on how precisely you first measured it. So at this point, I like to ghost it back a little bit. I put in a solid color layer, so this is going to be a white layer. Kind of comes in handy a little bit later. You can do this or not do this. Just turn it back a little bit. And then I'm just going to drop in a shape. In this case, it's going to be a square or a rectangular polygon. So I think this is going to be a pretty simple part. So I'm going to drop that in and do it with round. You can do any shape you want, depending on what you want. Obviously, what you want the final part to look like. So I'm going to start by making a rectangle. And I'm going to go into Edit, Transform, Distort, so I can yank the corners around. Yanking corners, yanking corners. It's kind of difficult to see what's going on behind there, so you just adjust the transparency down. And keep moving it around until you get kind of what you want. Yeah, so you just want to kind of keep messing around with this until you get everything covered. You want to get the whatever mounting holes in the frame you want covered, or mounting hole and the mounting holes in the motor. And the first couple versions of this are just going to kind of be a stab. Now I want to put in my bolt holes. So I'm going to pick a bolt hole that's like a 1/4 inch, because it'll be nice and precise. It'll be the smaller, obviously, the better. Just to get it in the right spot. And then I'm going to go put holes all around the part and on the motor and the frame. I've got the settings on a solid color, so it's going to be making a solid white circle. Once those are what I want, I'm just going to go in and mess with the transparency until it's what I want. So I'm going to turn the transparency back up on this. Then I'm going to turn the background off. Then I'm going to go back to the part and change the color to gray so I can see it. And there's my part. Now I want to make a big hole in the center for the sprocket and all that stuff. So I can go back to my background image, turn that on, turn my opacity down again, go to my shape tool and select that. And this time I'm going to change it to a circle from the center, unconstrained. So I'm going to start drawing that circle from the center of the shaft out and just give myself some room there. And there's my center hole shape. And now it's just a matter of sort of adjusting opacities. So there's my part opacity at 100%. Turn my shape on. Pick all the little bolt holes, turn their opacity up, and then turn my background off again. So now I can print this out and mess with it and cut it out and everything. And I can just print it on regular paper. I don't have to print it on cardboard or cardstock or anything. So I'm just going to stuff it through the printer. Pick a paper size that fits. So this would probably fit on a legal. So hit print or hit OK or whatever. And then just move it so it fits in the paper. Standard printing operation. And then cut it out. Once I have messed with it a little bit, I'm sure there are some changes I'm going to want to make. So I'm going to turn the background back on and play around. At this point, if there are any bolt holes that, again, hit transform and distort and you can move it around. If there are any bolt holes that don't line up correctly, I can move them around. Often I'll do this 3 or 4 times. Just to kind of refine the shape and make sure everything's lining up perfectly. So when I finally get it where I want it, I'll print it out. At this point, you can do a number of things. You could make a CAD drawing from it. You could send it to somebody who can generate a CAD drawing from it. This is an example. This is the cardboard cutout on a different bike, different shape motor mount. But this is the cardboard cutout. It fit like a glove. So then I took it into, I think it was TurboCAD, and made a CAD drawing. And then emailed the drawing to a friend of mine with a machine shop, and he has a CNC miller. So he had to actually redraw it for his machine and made this part out of 1/4-inch steel. And this is what it looked like with a motor in it. A perfect fit.